Okay, so the carriage pulls up in front of her estate. So a pair of her servants attend to you as soon as you step out. Go ahead and describe yourself.
Like in not okay.
Just what you look like. Stepping out into the storm.
I'm a medium-sized dwarf. My beard goes about down to my knees, braided. I'm wearing nice leather armor with little spots of like hardened bark. You can tell that I'm grizzled. My hair is matted. Boots are dirty. Stink. Not like terrible, but I don't smell like I'm not like
You're definitely a bit of a wild man.
Yes.
You're a neckbeard of the Sarah.
I appear
kind of a redneck.
I appear slightly faltered by the rain, but still keeping my composure.
Okay. You're sort of filled with purpose. You march past the servants and up the steps of the manor. A bunch of her neighbors are outside. It's about 9:30 at night. This is a very unusual call for a lady of her station, and, well, they don't exactly get a lot of dwarves in this part of Caliphus, so it's definitely going to be scandalous no matter what. What do you do? Do you go pound on the door? Do you politely ask for entry, or demand to be seen?
I pound on the door, and I request to speak with Gloria Kitnova.
Hell yeah. Nothing happens at first. You have to keep pounding and pounding till finally an older man, a butler, decides to peek his head out the door. Yes? Can I help you?
I'd like to see Miss Gloria Kitnova.
Do you have an appointment?
Please get here immediately. It's a rainy and stormy night.
Okay. I'll go fetch her. Hold on. He says as he sort of walks back into the foyer and disappears inside. Several minutes go by, and he sort of begrudgingly trudges back out. The missus would like to know what your business is. It's very unusual this hour. It's quite late.
Can we pause for a second?
Yeah, sure.
am I going into my story right now about?
You don't have to talk about. I mean, we're gonna act it out. Essentially, you don't have to explain it word for word. This is the lady that. Hang on, I'll just DM you real quick.
I'm pretty sure I know what it is. I know what it is.
Yeah.
I know what it is.
It's getting spicy, dude.
So, all right, I'm ready. Go.
All right. Please, it's very unusual. Someone like yourself at this hour, you see. What will the neighbors think? What will they think at court?
Trust me. I have something she would love to have.
Oh. All right, I'll pass the message along. He sort of runs back inside. Well, shuffles. He doesn't really run. He's an old man. Another 10 or 15 minutes go by. Finally, the doors open, sort of unceremoniously, and this older, I would say cat lady-esque woman sort of walks into the foyer. Well, my man Seven said you had something I'd be interested in. Introduce yourself. Explain yourself. What is the meaning of this?
Call me Greenlung. Take a whiff of this.
Jesus Christ.
I reach into my pouch that's hanging on my waistband, and I hand her a piece of flay leaf, holding it by the stem on the bottom.
Okay.
Her eyes go wide immediately. She sort of gets shifty and looks around, even though there's no one there. All right, yes, come in. Hurry up. Did anyone see your approach? Did anyone? No. Okay, all right. In we go. All right, Mr. Greenlung. God, that's good shit. What is this? Is this it? You're calling on me right now to what? To string me out? Tell me. You have some business in the city and some business with me. What is it? What can I do for you, Mr. Greenlung?
Well, I have something you need, and you have something I need.
I say, what do you mean? Sort of scoffs at the implication.
Well, do you want more of this?
Yes.
I show her like I flip over my waistband. It's holding a large satchel, and in it is a lot more of those nugs.
No.
I mean
nice.
flay leaf.
Flay leaf, yeah. All right. The narcotic is fine and good, but clearly you've heard the rumors. Our station is not quite what it once was in this city. I'll take it, but it's gold and platinum I'm in need of, Mr. Greenlung. And be frankly, I don't think you're the sort who can afford my lifestyle. Just sort of coy about it, you know. You get the sense she's definitely not right. Not all there. Bit scatterbrained almost. Like she thinks that she's still super prim and proper when, you know, the house itself is sort of in a state of disrepair, is shabby, a little bit disheveled, which is not something that a noble house should have ever, basically. There's a curious like lack of servants other than the people who met you at the gate and the butler himself that opened the door. Clearly you had some sort of trade in mind, yes?
Well, yes, some of that silver.
What silver? How did you find out about that? My grands? I can't. I'm sorry. It's too precious.
I grab the bag of flay leaf back from her.
No, wait! Okay, all right. Hold on. Let's not be unreasonable. I'm a reasonable woman. Hang on.
What do you have?
Oh, it's maybe 3 or 4 pounds in total. It's not a lot, but it should be suitable for your purposes. I could part with maybe half in exchange for 1,000 platinum and what you've brought here tonight. Go ahead and roll a sense motive.
Sense motive.
In skills. You don't have it trained, so you could just do 1d20 if you want.
Skills.
Slash roll 1d20. Type it in there.
Okay.
Not the worst. Not the best.
Okay.
Not so great.
A 9.
It's a 9. All right. You think she's giving you a perfectly great deal? Better than you thought you were going to bargain for.
Fuck.
Josh about to get ripped off, dude. About to have the plug run off on him.
you greedy little fucker, what, dude?
You think it over. I'm going to fetch something to smoke this. Bear with me one moment.
She
goes to get one of those, like,
She's already going to smoke your shit. You haven't even made the deal yet, dude.
no, just the first leaf. Just gonna grab one of those like 101 Dalmatians long ass cigarettes in the stick.
Josh, you about to get ripped off by Cruella DeVille.
What else can I do?
You want to turn the tables? You could try to intimidate her. You could play it. You could bluff. You could try to act gruffer than you really are.
I want to intimidate her. Yeah.
All right.
And I want to say that's less than half of what it's worth. I could sell this to somebody else for more than that. Okay, I'll talk through that. Sorry.
Oh, you're good. All right, go ahead and do it again. Roll 1d20.
Oh.
Slash roll 1d20.
Okay, she goes. Well, let's not get hasty. Okay. You're right. You came here in good faith, and well, it's a bit scandalous, but all right. What if we made it 800 platinum pieces and the rest of the silver? Would that be acceptable?
That sounds like a deal.
Well, all right, but you want in on this or no? She sort of offers you the flame leaf cigarette.
I reach out for it. I wipe it off with my leather armor, like where the mouthpiece is.
Right.
I hit it.
Okay. Sort of pass it back to her. Or...
Yep, I pass it back to her.
All right. She goes to take another hit. As she does, well, go ahead and make a perception check for me real quick. It's that one you can click on. Yeah. 18. Okay, Jesus.
Mm-hmm.
Just as she inhales a massive puff, a bolt of lightning cracks down outside the manor and splits the darkness, splits the rain, and both of you see, sitting on a tree branch outside, an absolutely massive fucking owl. Almost as big as you are, perched on the branch looking at you both. Good heavens, she says, and falls backwards out of her chair. What the hell is that? Monster! Guards! You do something! You look like a ruffian!
Well, that's meow. Darakb.
Your owl? What do you mean, your owl? It's the size of a buggy. You're a strange sort, Mr. Greenlung. Manfred! Come quickly. Fetch Grand Silver for me and get this strange little man out of my sight, please. Please. I can't bear the sufferance any longer. Try not to let anyone see you on the way out, yes? She sort of like hastily kind of puts it all in like a burlap sack and sort of hands it over to you. They're kind of basically pushing you out of the door.
I take it and I put that shit right around my waist, but like I move my waist back to like my chest, so it's nice and close to me instead of on my waist, like I hang
Right.
over. And I walk out of there, go see my dog Darakb.
Do you call him over or anything, or does he just kind of fly up?
I make a bird noise like, and he flies over me.
Hell yeah.
Like Birdman.
All right. The two of you go ahead and get back in the carriage, or he sort of rides on the top of it. You know your next destination. going to meet an old friend at his forge.
Mm-hmm.
So leaving the row, your carriage sort of takes off through the streets. They're not so busy. Obviously, it's storming, but after several minutes and several miles, you finally make it over. Hop out of the carriage. Darakb takes off, sort of does his own thing. He flies around outside, as he's prone to do. And you walk up to a dusty, dingy sort of storefront with a giant anvil on the sign. It says Crags in big letters. What do you do?
You said I'm on a caravan.
No, you were in
Sorry?
like a horse and buggy kind of thing.
I step out of there, step on the ground. It's been pouring down rain. Water splashes up as I step onto the ground. Tell Darakb to post up outside and keep an eye on things. And I walk into the shop where it says Crags.
The door's locked. It's sort of like after dark, so what do? You pound on the door again?
Yeah, I knock on the door.
Nothing happens.
Is there like a back around area to this place, or is it like shop next side by shop by shop?
No, there's an alley off to the side. You can sort of walk around and...
Can I have Darakb fly around and see if he sees anything?
Yeah.
I'm gonna have Darakb fly around and see if he sees anything.
All right, go ahead and roll perception again. Oh, okay, yeah.
What?
There's a...
Oh boy.
Yeah, bonuses. In the back alley, you see behind a stack of crates, there's like a small staircase that sort of goes down towards the basement level, and there's a wooden door there. Go try that instead.
Alley looks safe.
Yeah, it's empty.
Yeah, I go see that. I go there.
Same thing, you pound on the door?
Yeah, I knock on the door.
Okay. Sort of nothing seems to happen for the first few minutes, or first few moments. And you gradually look, there's a small window, like a pane of glass about head height for a dwarf in the door itself. And you see like a little bit of light sort of illuminate the hallway walking towards you. You can't see anybody. All of a sudden, the door opens and a small, fit, well-armed but disheveled-looking dwarf holding a hammer in one hand and a candle in the other says, "Who the bloody hell goes there?"
Good evening. Brommus Greenlung.
Brommus.
And the owl. Darakb.
My old friend. Is that you? What the bloody hell are you doing here? This isn't Chastel. This isn't the country. Well, you're about as out of place as I am. Quick, come in. Where's that bird of yours? Soaking wet outside. Sort of beckons you to follow him inside the shop. Jeez, man. I haven't seen you in 20 or 30 years at least. What are you doing here?
I'm in need of a favor, old friend.
A favor? I suppose I recall owing you one, or three. Well, if it's something I can help, maybe I'll see what I can do for you. What is it?
You see my boy Darakb here. Trying to give him some drip.
Some drip?
I'd like...
What strange language you speak? What the fuck does that mean? He's soaking wet. He's already dripping.
No, old friend. Not that kind of drip.
Speak plainly.
I'd like for you to take some of this silver here. Cover his talons, cover his beak. Make him stronger than ever.
Why? In all of the hells would you want me to do something like that? Don't you know how painful it would be for the creature?
It's something Darakb has wanted his whole life, my friend. To be covered in silver.
I don't know. That's cruel, even for you. I don't think I can, old friend.
Mhm.
He sort of looks at you, kind of giving you the side eye. He finally goes, "That's it? That's all you wanted? Usually I make weapons. I don't..."
No, my friend. Sorry for the interruption, but I'd like 50 silver-tipped arrows as well. Only with what remains.
What is it you'd be hunting with those silver arrows, friend?
Don't you worry about that, old friend. I have some loose ends I need to tie up.
Go ahead and make a diplomacy roll for me.
Diplomacy.
All right. Like I said, I owe you one. All right. You know what you're asking isn't going to be easy. You'd probably wake half the damn neighborhood. It's going to hurt. I hope the two of you are ready. Sort of beckons you further inside and starts lighting torches inside the forge itself. You have to sit.
Start smoking some flight leaf.
Okay. You sit and sort of watch as he pours the silver, melts the silver down, pours it into the molds, makes these arrowheads and starts attaching it to the arrows. Comes over, snatches the J out of your hand, takes a hit, gives it back, doesn't say anything. We're gonna have to strap him down. I'll need your help. Good God, there's a big owl.
Rockba's eyes get big and he goes. And I go over there and I like, like almost like treat him as if I would a dog and like pet him, stroke him, rub his belly, and I tell him everything's gonna be okay.
All right, go ahead, roll.
This is what you
Roll.
asked for.
Roll handle animal real quick.
Damn.
Sort of looks at you very
He's
intently for
handling
a
that
second,
animal.
like very defensive, and then he sort of leans back, like, all right. Fine. He lets you guys sort of put him in this, not quite harness, but restraints that are going to hold him in place. Craig kind of looks at you. He says, the silver is not as good of quality as I would have hoped. I'm afraid we're not going to be able to simply plate his beak and talons. If it's for what I think it's for, I'm going to have to etch them. I'm going to have to cut rents in the actual beak and claw and fill them with the silver. Are you sure you're up for that? There'll be no going back.
Yep,
Aye.
that's what he asked for.
You're a tough customer, Brommus. All right. Best get started then. Sort of pulls out a wicked-looking, almost like a paring knife, but it's very thick. It's very sharp. And the two of you basically get to work carving rents in his talons and in his beak, which he flails and struggles and screams at. And Crag goes over and grabs this pitcher of molten silver and pours it into these like rifts that he's cut. Darakb lets out a scream like nothing you've ever heard in the 60 some odd years you've been together. You see lights start coming on in the houses and the shops around the neighborhood. Darakb's shaking viciously, sort of mewing at this point. He's not really doing much, not crying out. Finally, after a few seconds of him lying still, he sort of stands on his own, gets out of the harness, and sort of looks you both over and beckons you to let him outside to go fly.
I show him how he look. I like take out my Macharde,
Mhm.
my polearm, and I like show him in the mirror of my blade how he's straight dripping now with silver.
Lets out
And he
like
goes,
a
yeah, like an approval.
hell yeah. You let him out to go fly, or
Yeah, I let him out to go fly.
all right? He sort of starts to take off and sort of begins to fly to the south a little bit further and then over to the west some. You know he's not gonna, run off or anything, obviously. Two of you have a pretty strong bond, but
Dog.
let him go do his own thing. And we'll sort of end your little vignette there. You know, you have an appointment or you have a ticket rather to be on the train the next morning.
Ooh.
Off we go.
Promise Greenlung, dude.
All right.
Hell yeah. That's a cool little character. I like your description, Josh, with your armor. Like saying that you got like the wood bark and shit on there.
Felt like I could have done a little bit better after the fact, but it's okay.
We're learning. We're learning,
That's
boys.
good.
All right. Elsewhere, west of the city, in a dingy, disheveled, shitty little apartment, if you could even call it that. Mold, wallpaper sort of mottled, hanging down in strips, floorboards missing, walls creaking, holes in the roof. Alafair, you wake up to the screech of some sort of bird or dragon, you can't quite tell. Something you've never heard in your near 100 years in the city.
What was that?
Sort of in a bit of a fugue. It's early in the morning, close to daybreak, but not quite. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
Sorry, one sec. Man. Is it a 1d20?
Yeah, or let me see. On your sheet, I don't know if you have bone. I think you put points in it.
For
Oh no.
where would I see that under
On the main page, it's under skills.
me?
Just scroll down a little bit. It's under linguistics.
Oh, sorry.
6.
Wah.
You think, man, that was fucking weird. Sort of begin to drift back off to sleep. Just as you're on the verge of sort of passing back out, you hear a slamming on this brittle, shitty door that's to this little apartment that you're in. Just boom, 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 boom. Boom, 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 boom,
Alright.
boom, boom, boom.
I kind of like jump out of bed and like put my back to the wall up against the door and like kind of peek and see if I can get a look either like underneath the door, from the door to the frame, or through the people of who's outside.
Go ahead and make a stealth roll for me then.
Is that under skills also?
Yes. Okay. The banging has stopped. There's clearly someone out there. You're not 100% sure who, but all of a sudden, very slowly, the handle to the door starts to sort of twist open with a rusty sort of creak, like.
So the door is unlocked and it's opening.
Yeah. You see a hand sort of
Oops, I didn't mean to click that, sorry.
slowly reach through. Oh, you're good. Sort of pushes its way in.
Alright.
So
I'm
oh, you're good.
I'm behind the door, right? Like it's opening like to me.
Yes,
'cause I'm,
correct.
like, up against the wall. What does the room look like?
There's basically like a little mattress on the floor. A
What
small.
about lighting?
Oh, it's pitch black.
Okay. I'm just gonna stay with my stealth roll behind the door and see if I can see them enter the room.
Okay. As you're sort of waiting there patiently, barely even breathing, your heart rate's stilled. You see a man in his late 20s, maybe early 30s, stumble his way through the door. It's very dark. He's sort of got one hand out in front of him. He doesn't have anything in his hands, but you can see there's a massive meat cleaver sort of attached to a belt by his thigh. He sort of gets halfway into the room and he says, Alafair. Cousin. It's me. It's Rumo. Are you here?
Do I recognize the name?
Yes.
I'm gonna. So he's in front of me. The door is open. I'm gonna slam the door, lock it, and try to get behind him, like almost as if like ready to draw my dagger behind his back.
Okay, go ahead and make a sleight of hand check. As you do, you sort of slam the door shut and manage to lock it in one fluid movement, but you sort of trip as you bump into his back, and he turns around and sort of grabs a hold of you he grabs you by the collar with both hands, and he looks you dead in the face, and he goes, "My, what red eyes you have, cousin." And he sort of slaps you on the back like a bro hug kind of thing and just starts laughing.
I'm dressed kind of how I am. Like I have like a trench coat on, a hood up, and I have glasses on, and I'll lower my glasses, revealing my red eyes, and say, "What business have you here, cousin? It's been a long time since I've seen you."
Well, it's not my business, it's yours. Unfortunately, you've gotten yourself into quite a bit of trouble without me, I see. Oh, I forgot to do the sort of Eastern European accent. Oops.
Yeah.
Sort of your little predicament from the other night, your witnessing of a certain crime committed by a certain priest.
I kind of want to cut him off. Like, did the masquerade sent you? Do they know? Tell them I'm going to take care of it. It'll be handled.
Masquerade? No. Aye, cousin. Wrong family. You're thinking of the ones below. No, we are your brothers from the road.
I kind of look like relieved. Like I kind of like lean back and like hold my chin. Like, okay.
What?
I thought.
Good God. You thought I was one of them? Well, you would be dead. No, Uncle Ephraim sent me. He has news and a proposition. A way out of your situation before matters get worse. He wants us to meet him at the theater, at the academy.
I just kind of like put my head down and shake. One of my many predicaments I have, cousin. What of my services can I offer to this man?
I don't know. I'm just a messenger, but he's not a patient man. He's not someone you keep waiting around. He said, bring his ass here. Chop, chop. And he sort of gestures with the heft of his cleaver, like it's a joke.
I kind of begrudgingly, like, all right, I have no choice, I suppose. Anything to get me out of this town. And I pick up, like, my coats and gloves and my boots that are just scattered on the floor of this rundown apartment and, make sure that my skin and my eyes and everything's covered. Pop the coat of my trench coat up. All right, show me the way.
Oh, he sort of walks over. He's adjusted a little bit to the darkness now. He sort of walks over and he kind of flings the curtains open. What pathetic excuse you can call the curtains. It's more like scraps. And you sort of flinch back, kind of recoil for a second. He goes, it's morning. There'll be plenty of people out there in the... Why did I go Irish with that? In the markets, there'll be plenty of people. We'll have lots of cover. All right, follow me. And he sort of turns around and marches like right out of the door. But before he gets a few steps out, he turns around and he goes, Star Song. How could I forget? It's worse. It's worse than you think, old friend. Hang on. And he sort of pulls out this rumpled piece of parchment from his coat and hands it to you. And inside is almost a perfect likeness of yourself, like a charcoal casting of your face, with the words "wanted," and you see the symbols for the Church of Pharasma, which is a sort of low, sweeping spiral, and you see. Actually, hang on, I'm gonna have you roll for this. Let me see what the relevant check is. Go ahead and roll knowledge local for me. Okay. Slightly below the wanted, like big block letters, you see a small symbol. It's another spiral, but it has a large cross with sort of two arms, like two pairs of arms sticking out of it. And you recognize the symbol of the Inquisition of the Church of Pharasma.
Okay. Is that all I gather off the wanted poster?
Yeah. That's very bad news.
Yeah. So I'm obviously aware of the situation, right?
Yes.
I read the run, so like I'm aware of what's going on, like that I'm being,
Yeah, that you're pretty much haunted.
So I like read it and like kind of recognize what I see on the poster, and I go back to the window.
Or should I kind of forgot to do this too, but you should see it. So it says, like, in big block letters, it says "wanted for the crime of murder," and in sort of like a stylized Latin paragraph, it details that you allegedly murdered an innocent priest of the church who was just trying to help a young girl.
So yeah, I kind of take like the wanted sign and I read it and I look at my cousin and said, "You don't believe any of this, do you?"
Of course not. We know you. And we know Jert, that piece of shit, Diktba, stupid wannabe cleric that he is. Everyone knows he bought his stole. He's no real member of the faithful.
After he says that, I kind of go back to the window as I'm like almost like checking, and I like fling the curtains shut and say, "Take me to the theater."
All right. Perhaps you should, I don't know, do something to change your appearance. Maybe wear a different hat, or I don't know. You're the one who's good at this sort of thing. Go ahead and roll disguise for me. Ooh, nice. Okay. What do you do? How do you sort of change yourself?
So I take I at first I go back to the window and I kind of peer and I go, "You're right. It is a little busy at this hour." And I take my trench coat and like in one movement I like fling it off and turn it inside out and like pop it back on and take my hat and like invert it and then like just button up more of my shirt and my pants and like tuck my boots in, and just kind of completely change the way I look in like one fluid, like swift motion of everything.
Nice. So Rumos sort of like kind of looks you over and sort of grabs your lapels that he kind of like yanked you by earlier and sort of fixes them up, and he goes, Good. Has anyone ever told you what big teeth you have, cousin?" Let's go. And he doesn't give you a chance to answer. He just sort of marches out of the room.
I kind of pop the trench coat one more time and like buckle it and sent my head down out the door.
Right on. All right, so you guys, you sort of you head down the hallway, and it's this. You're in like it's like a safe house. You know what I mean? Like it's an abandoned sort of row house building. It's not really safe to be in for most people, other than other homeless squatters or people in various states of disarray. There's nobody there who could like sell you out or anything. You sort of make your way downstairs and out onto street level, and everyone's getting ready to go to market. You know, it's like 6:37 in the morning, basically. There's hundreds and hundreds of people passing around. There's like big crowds and sort of flows of traffic going in and out around the way. And you know, the academy that you guys are headed to is about a block, or sorry, it's about 5 blocks away, maybe. Let me see if I can ping it for you. If you look at the actual map. You guys see that? You are here.
Okay. Is this the row that I'm going down?
No, this is Harrow Lane.
Okay.
It's like the name of this block that you know is sort of controlled by your associates in basically the mob, the Sarni, which Rumo is one of those guys. So
right.
You guys start making your way through the crowds. You know, the sun is gradually starting to come up, and it's sort of almost too intense, sort of dazzles you a little bit as you're sort of walking into it as it rises.
I kind of mention it like again clutch my clothes a little bit closer and said, "Does our compatriot not know of my condition?
Of course,
he couldn't have done this at night."
Of course he knows, but he's a busy man, old friend, and things have changed. He's here meeting with the big boss today, Papa Osik. Things have not been going well in the rest of the toil. I think there is some problems with the turf war we're having with some of the men by the docks. Whatever it was, it sounded important, but you know Uncle Ephraim, he likes to torment you. It's what he does.
Yeah, I just continue to act irritated and almost like I'm trying to hurry, you know?
Okay. Go ahead and make a perception check for me. Okay. As you're sort of making your way through the mill of the crowds, you're kind of glancing around, checking behind you. Not nothing out of the ordinary, nothing suspicious, but you're just kind of slick about it, checking reflections in puddles and mirrors and stuff. You make it about 3 or 4 blocks, and you notice that at all of the entrances to the lane, there are a lot of guards, like a lot more than normal. And you see several posters matching the one that he handed you earlier, sort of being plastered to the walls.
Cousin, I did not know it was this serious. Get me to this theater.
All right.
I kind of try to yank him off the main path, like I know a back way. You know?
Yeah.
Do you need me to roll anything for that? Like local knowledge maybe or something? Ooh.
Go ahead and roll a stealth check.
Nice. Eat 'em, baby.
You get the sense that somebody was taking a little too much of an interest and you dipped out at exactly the right time, but as far as you're aware, no one's following you, and the two of you sort of duck through a few back alleys, and you pass his family's butcher shop. It's just it's a little store, and there's a giant sign that just says Rumo and Sons outside. Basically right across the street from the academy. You walk up, and the academy itself is just this old, once glorious kind of stone facade. It was a big theater. Used to be a nice place, 50, 60 years back. It sort of fell into a bit of disrepair, but you know it pretty well. Obviously, you were sort of raised there, in a sense. There's guards from the family posted up out and around it who sort of give you both kind of cautious nods. And some people sort of gossip and whisper, you know, they're like, is that Alafair? What is he doing here? I thought he was gone. Aye. And you sort of march up the front steps and kind of push through the facade of the theater. It's not a theater, really. You know, just on the outside it looks that way, but inside, as you walk into the main hall, you see dozens of sort of young men who look very similar to you and to Rumo, who are engaged in various forms of like pickpocketing training or sort of hand-to-hand combat, very reminiscent of what you went through when you were an adolescent. And it's all being directed by an older, almost crone-like woman who sort of looks at you and does a double take, and she goes, "Everybody stop! Tell me you did not do what I think you did, my child." She says to you.
I kind of like don't even break my stride and just continue to like not be noticed and just look and say like, "You've known me for far too long."
She cuts you off like 2 words and she goes, "Good, of course, I knew it, all right. You don't look like you're eating enough. It's good to see you. Why haven't you come? It's been so long, Alafair. Come. Sort of whisks you up in front of a lot of the younger students, and she's like, "This young man here would pick your pockets 10 times over before you even knew it. Show them. Go on, show them. Why don't you show them how good you are, my son? Do it. And go ahead and roll sleight of hand for me." You almost immediately get caught sort of like reaching a hand into a small pouch on her belt line. Go ahead and roll perception for me too.
I might cast a spell here too before you jump at the storyline. So just let me.
Okay.
So with that check, so I'm trying to get some. Let's say I'm trying to get something out of her pocket with that perception and that sleight of hand, right?
Yeah.
So I like fumble to do it, but I would like to cast Illusion of Calm and place my body on the other side of her where she looks and goes, "Maybe he lost his touch." And behind her, I flick a coin in the air to the students.
That's awesome. Fuck yeah. Just sort of like whips her head around like, "You see, what did I tell you? What are you gawking at? Get back to work." Yeah. And she sort of slaps one of the kids on the back of the head.
Can you describe to the party like what happened? Like, so I guess like it just vanishes like after it goes, right?
Yeah. No, it's
like
literally
dissipates?
it's LeBlanc's passive pretty much. Like
Yeah.
you form a mirror image of yourself, and then you can sort of move invisibly for a moment. And after a while, it sort of poofs into smoke.
Fuck yeah, dude. So sick.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Oh yeah. She sort of ushers you out of the room, away from the stage, and towards one of the offices in the back, and she goes, "All right, go. He's waiting on you. You're in quite a bit of trouble, my friend. I hate to break it to you, but I'm not even sure we can get you out of this one. Things are bad, not just for us, but for you too. Be careful in there."
I kind of scoff and thank her for her kind words and apologize for what I did in front of the students, and then just kind of chuckle.
Oh, she sort of laughs with you, and then as you walk off, you hear her sort of drop the motherly persona and start acting like a dragon lady again. Like, "You! What the fuck are you doing? Again! And you sort of walk down a dark hallway towards this office that's sitting in the back. And you push the door open, and inside it's not so much an office as it is like a speakeasy. You know, there's like a bar, there's a doorman, there's a barman. And you see Evrim, who is sort of like the captain of this crime family, leaning up against the bar, and he sort of sees you and he beckons you over. He goes, Alafair, Alafair, come, come. We were just talking about you.
Much to talk about, I've heard.
Yes. I don't know if Rumo told you, but it seems like the situation is worse than it was a few days ago. That piece of shit priest, he banged you up pretty good on this one.
Is this like a bar?
Yeah.
So I kind of sit next to him and order a drink, you know? And then as the drink slides, do they have food here?
What kind of food? People food or your people's food?
You know, I don't partake. And as I kind of clutch in those arts. But living on the streets, however, does leave me famished. Almost asking like a favor, like
yeah.
you know, this
Well,
is like a home.
You know, he's definitely just fucking with you, and he's like, yes, of course. He snaps his fingers like 5-6 times, like, you, yes, Tipo, get him something to eat now. I don't know, the pierogies, get something, get some shit out here. Let's go. Where was I? Oh yes, all right. So. You need to get out of the city, clearly. The Inquisition is involved now, and they will never, ever stop hunting you in here, where they are strong. We can only do so much from our little stretch of town. But we have friends elsewhere. Lepidstadt, Thrushmore, you name it. There are places you could go. Maybe we could even get you to Old Varisia, but I managed to secure you a train ticket north. But it's going to cost you. We know you're not really one of us, not anymore, and you earned your freedom, but this is not something I can give away. You understand, but is it too much to ask? One last job?
I kind of stop eating, like I've been shoveling this food down, you know, like I've been famished, and look up. What of my talents could be of use to you?
He sort of laughs, looks around like, is this man serious? For your talents. You're a damn good pickpocket, but you're a far better extortionist, and a far, far better spy. It's a shame you never really wanted to be one of us. We could always use someone like you, but I digress. It's a simple trade. You take the train ticket north, you will go to the city of Lepidstadt. There you will meet a noblewoman who has a courier coming to arrive. This courier will have a letter, and you will switch the letter with one of our own making. After that, you're free to go.
I kind of stop again and look, and do I want to know the politics at play in this situation?
He gives you like a wolfish kind of smile, and he goes, No, nothing to concern yourself with. No, it's well above your pay grade, as it were, anyway.
Good intended, I'm sure.
Always, nephew, always.
Well, I need out of the city, and all I have is my trade, so I shall do this one last favor for the academy. Go back to throwing pierogies down as fast as I can.
He says, good. He slaps you on the back very hard, enough to make you sort of spit what you were chewing out. And he goes, he looks at you, and he sort of spits into the palm of his hand and sort of expects you to do the same. Not his hand, you spin to your own and do the handshake thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, yeah.
I look at my glove as if I'm going to take it off, and I leave it on.
He laughs. And he goes, good. And he pulls you like very, very close, and he sort of whispers, in case you decided to change your mind or got any ideas, if the letter does not arrive where it is supposed to arrive in 30 days' time, well, this is Caliphus. Things happen in this place. And maybe the church, they find that piece of shit Jerd who set you up with a stake in his back and a few fang holes in his neck. We have people everywhere in Ustalav and in many other places, but the Inquisition is global, and they will never, ever stop hunting you down. Nephew. And he sort of smiles at that last bit of it and acts like he didn't just pretty much, extort you.
I just kind of keep looking at him as we're shaking hands still and say, well, always good for an old friend to do such a solid favor.
Yes, I feel quite the same. Now, when you're done here, gorging yourself, go see Rumo at the shop. He'll get you briefed and situated.
I take what's left of the whiskey and slam it and put it down on the bar in front of him. It was almost like, thanks, but fuck you. Saying, he'll take the tab. And I walk out.
Nice. You head across the street to the butcher shop? Is that a yes?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. You sort of walk inside and you see Rumo's there with his 12 siblings of various ages. So they're all sort of doing different tasks, sweeping, chopping, cutting meat, prepping meat, counting the till, doing all that stuff, getting set up for the beginning of the day. And Rumo sees you come in and he just sort of beckons you over. He goes, "Oh yeah, cousin, how did it go? That looked a bit thick in there, if you know what I mean."
I kind of grin and then stop myself because I remember I'm in public and cover my mouth and say, "Oh, you know how the academy is, just trying to help an old friend out, if you'd like to use that word with that establishment, that is."
Sometimes I feel the same way. Such is our lot in life, eh? Anyway, sort of looks around, kind of pokes his head out the front of the store. "Follow me, cousin. Let's get you situated. I have sort of been made aware of the operation." And he leads you towards this steps going down into the basement. There's a rear alley, and it's where business is often conducted.
Mm-hmm.
That other business, not the not the butcher shop stuff.
Yeah, I gotcha.
And the two of you sort of head down the stairs and into this little sub basement. And on the table, or a table, sitting next to the door, is a sack full of, clothes, provisions, a little bit of money, and a train ticket with an itinerary, like a destination, obviously. And in the center of the room, on a large table that's obviously used for prepping, cows or cattle or big slices of meat, is a dead man who looks very fucking similar to you, almost identical. And Rumo sort of, as he's giving you the rundown on who you're supposed to meet and where you're supposed to go in this town of Lepidstadt, very casually, while talking to you as if nothing's amiss, sort of pulls the corpse's tongue out and just sort of hacks it off with one of his knives. Throws it to the side. And he goes, "This, cousin, this is your ticket out of here. You swap that letter, and we drop his body in the street. It's enough that they'll stop looking. We'll do some work on his face, remove his teeth, make it look like an accident or something. But that should hopefully get things off your back. But if you go through with this, you can never come back here. Never."
Without responding, I kind of walk up to the body and drop my glasses and open his eyelids and lift his lips. And do I see what I'm looking for?
You do.
Okay. Like, suitable replacement. And just kind of take the shroud and throw it back over the body, like I'm almost disgusted to see it, you know?
He sort of waggles the tongue in your direction. He's still holding it, like pinched between two fingers, and he goes, I knew you'd be the man for the job. And before he could say anything else, like a little kid, maybe 10 years old, comes like running down the stairs, and he goes, Rumo, come quickly. Outside, the guards. They're closing in. They're coming into the block. They're coming into our block. He sort of goes, oi, that's not good. We're going to have to get you out of here. We're going to have to get you onto the train. I have an idea. You're not going to like this. He sort of beckons you to follow him out the back, sort of in between these storefronts where you can't be seen from the street.
Mm-hmm.
And you pop open this fence, and the two of you walk in, and he just starts cackling madly. And we're gonna fade to black there. Hang on 1 second.
Damn. Mm-hmm. Cool.
Right on. Sort of up in the row in sort of central northern part of the city, the sun is finally fully up and cresting. The fog, the morning fog, is sort of cleared, and all these rich folks and their bankers are sort of commuting to and from these elegant financial institutions in the sort of heart of the town. Carriage rolls up almost comically low to the ground. Something clearly quite heavy inside, or someone. Sort of rolls up to the front of Eskerson and Sons, Esquire, financial house, and a massive half-orc steps out of the carriage.
I do a big stretch.
Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
All right. Do I pull up my character?
Yeah.
How do I?
Click
I go to characters, right?
Yeah, and then click on it.
Click your sheet.
I click my character and it doesn't do anything.
Share your screen real
Oh
fast.
yeah, his character sheet's not in there.
Oh, you're gonna have to refresh probably.
It doesn't have it in there for me either. I'm gonna click on it.
Oh, wait, hold on. I know what happened at a pop-up blocker.
Ah,
Why is it? I thought it did it in the
no, it's a pop out window. Whatever
James,
reason.
can you like that? Can you like that music playlist?
Yeah. There's music.
I might even just be able to play it.
Yeah, you can put a bot on and play it. That'd be cool too.
I forgot about that. Here, you know how to actually use the fucking bot better than I do.
I don't know who the bot is.
Oh, we don't have it in here, do we? Never mind. I thought we were in the other Discord.
Yeah, I don't know. We're just gonna have to listen to it individually then.
That's okay.
That's fine.
Pulling it in general. And play it real low too.
Where are we at in the story with this?
Definitely added to it for me. What do you mean, Jared?
I'm on the lam.
He's doing introductions. You're just last.
Oh.
All right.
Okay.
So you can go ahead and roll perception, John.
Where is that?
In skills, you sort of scroll down about 3/4. Maybe you'll see it underneath linguistics.
Oh, I see it. It's alphabetical. Okay.
Yep. Nice. Okay. As you're doing this sort of cat stretch where you're like, sort of, and open up, you see 20 or 30 people around you recoil and sort of like spring back. Some of them start running. Guards! Guards! A few of them say before they realize you're not an orc. You're just a half-orc, sort of well-dressed, sort of prim. Not wealthy,
I got my
but
woolen shirt. I got my slacks. I got my hair slicked back.
you're 6'8", but you're really like 7'3" with the top knot. Quite the sight, definitely. As you walk up the steps to this financial institution, the first of many, it's what this sort of section of the town is famous for, a pair of guards immediately step in front of you and sort of cross their spears and say, "Halt! You there, what's your business here?"
I've come for business.
Business? Orcish business? He sort of says, looking at you funny.
Farming business. Livestock business.
They kind of look at one another and sort of back to you and look at each other again. Like, what manner of farming business? This is Caliphus. What? All right. Well, there's to be no weapons in here. Clearly, they sort of look you over, and you're obviously unarmed, but you sort of, bristle and flex at them a little bit, and they step back, each of them, look at one another again, and they go, "We'll be watching you, orc." You go inside, or
I go inside.
you walk in the lobby, you get much of the same reaction. Bunch of like, oh, good heavens. See people sort of behind the teller panels sort of run to go fetch their managers. You sort of take a hesitant kind of step in, or you just strut in like you own the place?
I take a hesitant step in. I don't want to scare people.
After a few seconds and seeing that, the sort of pregnant pause that was in the air just drops, and people just go back to talking about what they were talking about as if that didn't happen. And you're sort of directed to sit in this waiting area.
I move over, chair. I stand in the waiting area.
You just stand.
I just stand there. I don't want to sit.
So you stand there for 45, maybe 50 minutes, and finally someone comes over and say, "Sorry, sir. See, we're very busy. You caught us at a bad time. Ordinarily, we only take customers by appointment, and usually only handle trust accounts that they tend to last generations. I'm sorry. My name is Thames. What is your name, sir?"
My name's Widegrowl.
That's all right. Widegrowl, I'm given to understand you have agricultural leanings. What is it you would like us to do for you, sir?
I've come to get some seeds to plant and buy some cows, some livestock for my farm.
Well, I hate to point out the glaringly obvious, sir, but this is a house of currency, not of seeds. Are you interested in setting up an
Yeah,
account or getting some kind of loan? Or I'm afraid we have very few contacts in the business of cattle, and
Yeah. I need a loan. I'm saying I have an agricultural business.
he sort of looks at you with like one eye
I need-
raised.
I need a loan.
You're definitely like not the kind of clientele that they're used to, and it shows. There's almost a little bit of disdain. She looks at you, she's like,
Bro, I am not the clientele.
sort of hoping that you would have just taken the hint and gone away. And he goes, right, very well. Allow me a few moments. I have to go deliberate with our account managers. Hold on. Sort of like shuffles off into the back. And another 45 minutes goes by. And he sort of awkwardly sticks his head out the door and kind of looks around and gives someone behind you the nod and starts slowly walking over towards you. Go ahead and make a perception check again for me.
Cetus Lapidus.
You hear more than you really see or sense. About half a dozen guards sort of slowly creeping up behind you as the manager sort of walks his way over, and he goes, I'm sorry, sir, but your portfolio frankly would incur a bit too much risk for what we do here. I hope you understand. And he sort of is like gesturing towards the front door as he's saying this, like not really looking you in the eye.
I have collateral. I have a farm I can put up as collateral.
Yes, I'm sure that's all well and good, but just frankly not interested in that kind of leaning at the moment.
Is it because I'm an orc? Half-orc?
He looks around and there's people watching, like dozens of people watching, and he leans in very close and he goes, "Of course it's because you're an orc, you fool!"
Oh, shit.
He sort of steps back.
Bro.
Please do not make a scene. There are other institutions you could try. Again, sort of impatiently waves at the door as these guys get closer and closer.
Okay. All right, I get it. Half-orc. I'll leave.
He looks immensely relieved. He's, yes, I'm sure. Bit of unpleasantness, but you understand, it's business. And he sort of kind of gives you a nod, like, appreciates you not throwing hands with everybody in the building. They sort of definitely expect you to fly off the handle. You walk outside?
I walk outside, but I push a chair over on the way out.
Go ahead and make an intimidate roll for me.
Intimidate.
You go to grab one of the waiting chairs, which is, it's a nice, fancy-looking piece of furniture, and you go to heft it one-handed and sort of fling it across the lobby, and you gravely misjudge how heavy the chair is. You sort of weakly, like, flip it on itself in place. Just kind of look around, and everyone's just staring at you like, what the fuck was that?
Good shit.
I push the door open really hard.
Make another run.
The intimidate?
Yes.
Damn.
Okay.
That's what I thought.
You hear several, like, alarmingly loud gasps from inside, and even the guards that were sort of ushering you out step back a good, 2 or 3 feet, sort of look around at one another. You walk outside. You want to try another bank, or?
I walk outside. I'll go.
The boy said, "Is it because I'm an orc?"
The guy said, yeah.
Yeah. didn't even say yeah. He said, "Of course."
Oh, shit.
I'll go look for another bank.
All right, there's like dozens of them. It's one big strip, so
Oh, good.
go ahead and make another perception check. Okay, as you get a few buildings down, you start to head up the steps to the next sort of institution in the place, and you see several of these. They're huge. They're sort of like gargantuan marble and stone buildings. You see several of them very blatantly like closing and locking their doors and ushering people away from the front steps. And you see closed signs turning. Hang on one second. Let me see.
You see a water fountain that says "Orcs only."
No, not like that.
Holy.
Go ahead. Just type
Okay.
slash roll 1d20. Go ahead and make a knowledge local check. 15. You know that they're definitely not closed at this hour.
Okay.
All right.
I find a bar.
Well, no, the bank the one you were walking into is like open. They're just they see this too, and they're like, oh Jesus.
I thought everyone was closing their doors. Okay.
No, it's like the next one up, and then the one after that, and the one after that.
Okay. So, but I'm going into this one.
Okay. As you walk up, you see a sort of golden icon. It's a pair of scales that looks like it has money on it, and you know that is the symbol of the god whose name I just forgot. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Hang on one second.
Unreal, Chase.
Killing myself here tonight. Abadar. That's the symbol of Abadar, who is sort of the god of commerce. You think, okay, I'll definitely get a fair shake here in the. It's actually run by priests. It's not like, private bankers and things like that. You walk inside?
Okay.
Or sort of
I walk inside.
All right. Well, so immediately, unlike the last place you were at, an attendant sort of comes over to you and he goes, "Good morning, sir. What can we do for you?"
I'm looking for a loan.
Excellent. That's well within our wheelhouse. What sort of loan?
Looking for a loan for livestock and agriculture.
Interesting. He sort of looks you up and down. And take you as much of a farmer, but all
Look
right.
at me, I'm massive. I can farm a lot.
Well, yes, I would imagine you're some sort of fighter or mercenary or something, but well, all right. Hold on, let me go fetch a priest. They sort of run off really quickly and come back. And an older woman, sort of middle-aged, kind of comes back over. She goes, "Hello, I'm Sister Bismillah. I'm given to understand you're here for an agricultural loan. Is there something you have as way of collateral, or do you have an account with another one of our churches, or are you familiar at least with the business of farming?"
I have a family farm. Always had a family farm.
You do? Whereabouts?
Shit. Over in Canterwall.
Indeed. And what's the name of your farm? Perhaps it's something we've done business with in the past. What's your last name?
I can't pronounce my last name. I have a hard time.
Iager.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, she sort of takes a step back and kind of gives you a smile, and she goes, "Your family farm, you said?"
Yeah. Iager. My last name.
Of course. They're obviously somewhat famous, at least one of the largest providers of, raw meat, cattle, livestock, etc. In the country, not just in Canterwall. She sort of says, "Yes, excellent. Okay. Bear with me. Let's find an office," and sort of takes you off to the side. And for the next several hours, you debate the logistics of what you're asking for, the numbers, the sort of price points, what you need, and they sort of start putting together this portfolio. And she goes, "Okay, I think this looks good. Let me go discuss it with our bosses, the head priest." And she sort of walks into the sort of main temple office. And they're in there for a long time. Probably an hour and a half goes by, and you hear at several points, a man's voice being raised and her voice being raised, kind of over and over again. And another 30 or so minutes goes by, and she sort of walks out, and she just looks downtrodden. And she says, "Mr. Iager, I'm sorry to have wasted your time. We ran the numbers, and frankly, the country's in a bit of a downturn. We both know it, but the church doesn't want to take on that much risk right now. It's too dangerous, what with the revolution going on in the east. Would you be interested in maybe starting smaller, a few cattle and maybe a farmhand or two, or..."
I'll take what I can get.
You know
Gotta
that
extend
that's
a little bit.
that's like nothing, not even close to enough to do anything with, and you could probably find locals. She's just sort of being polite and trying to help you out and also keep your business.
I say, nah, not worth it. Don't need it.
Well, I'm sorry. I hope that the situation changes, and I hope that when it does, you'll keep us in mind. Feel free to dally all you like, or come back as needs merit. Sort of.
I'll take a water to go.
All right, we don't have water bottles. It's kind of the Middle Ages, but sure. No, she sort of waves over someone, and they give you like a goblet, and
I'll drink some water, and then I'll go.
all right, fair enough. As you go ahead and step outside, the sort of midday fog and the storms that accompany it coming in over the bay begin to pour in, and it starts really coming down. And everywhere on the street, all these rich people all around you, they have like personal assistants and gampers who have like big ass umbrellas that they're sort of walking. Well, they themselves are getting wet, but the wealthy people are under the umbrellas. And almost like cabbies, there's like one on every corner, and you can usually hire them. And most of them are just giving you a pretty wide berth. When finally, after like a couple minutes of searching, you see a halfling holding an umbrella who says, "Looking for a camp, sir?" And he sort of like waves his umbrella at you, even though there's absolutely no chance that he could hold it over you.
Okay. I said, no. I pick him up and I put him on my shoulders.
Excellent, sir. Excellent. I switched accents again, but I'm sticking with this one. He sort of says, "What, Well, actually, before I go on, go ahead and make another perception check for me. You notice it's a little strange that there's a halfling here when every other working person is either human or elven in some way. Sort of gives you pause for a second, but anyway.
That was strange.
Continues on. So what brings you to this side of town, sir?
Looking to expand my farm, buy some cows. But what are you doing around here? What brings a halfling to these parts?
I was born here, sir. Just trying to make an honest living, but Are you here to make a purchase, or are you here to secure financing?
Secure some financing.
Well, between you and me, the church is all good, but if it were my money, I'd head on over to the Savalis Company. Well, they're just up the row. Sort of gestures.
Okay, how about can you show me the way?
Well, I
For halfling to halfling, you know?
he sort of laughs. He goes, "Well, I can point you in the right direction, but I'm afraid my people are not really tolerated here. Something we
Ain't
probably
that the
have in
truth,
common."
brother?
Yeah, he just starts laughing. He like smacks you on the shoulder. He's like, "Yeah, well, it's just over there," and he points to the seediest looking alley you have ever seen in your life.
Ooh, okay.
It is all around you are these like luxurious buildings, big white marble, gold inlay, columns and all that kind of stuff. And this alley is just getting darker and darker and narrower and narrower and narrower. And all the way at the back, maybe half a block, you see a couple of like braziers that are lit, like at the front of this place, like torches almost on the top of the steps, and this very, very inlaid bronze door. It's definitely out of place for the rest of the block. And he kind of looks at you and sort of points. And he goes, "Off you go."
All right. I look around. Okay, so is dark vision something that you use? Because
It's automatic. So dark
No, it's
vision,
automatic.
okay,
for those of you guys who have it, dark vision allows you to see 60 feet in the dark perfectly, except only in black and white. But you don't have to like activate it. It's just on.
okay. Let's see. I look around, see if there's any other directions to go.
There's
no,
not.
no. Okay.
You know that, weirdly, compared to everything else you've seen, the rest of these like monolithic buildings are stacked basically right next to one another. There is no space between any of them. It's very unusual that there's an alley at all.
Okay. I take the guy's umbrella. I ask him what's going on down there.
It's a trading company. What do you mean what's going on? Business.
Why does it look so scary?
Scary. I suppose I never really looked at it like that before.
Alright.
He sort of stops for a second and he kind of like cocks his head and he looks all the way up at you and he kind of cocks an eyebrow and he goes, "Scary," like under his breath, like, "What?"
Okay. All right. I go down this alley.
Okay. As you sort of trod down it, you kind of do it haphazardly, or you kind of extra wary, paying attention, like
I'm
little bit
looking
spooked.
around.
Yeah.
I'm looking around, making sure, checking my back.
You're not 100% sure, but it definitely feels like the alley itself is getting narrower and narrower and sort of starting to come to a funnel.
Okay.
And every so often, you begin to hear something. Rumblings of some kind, but it's not thunder. You know it's not thunder. Go ahead and make a perception check. You sort of look around, you look up, you look kind of peering around the block and brick walls of the alley, and there's nothing that you can see. There's no one there. But every 100 feet or so, you catch something, a whisper, or whispers, or a flash almost in your peripheral, and every time you turn to look, there's just nothing there. And that's about the point where you sort of reach the steps going up to this place.
Oh, you're plugging your vape in.
Okay. I wait at the bottom of the steps. I look around behind me again.
As soon as your foot hits the front step, the doors swing open inward, soundlessly, and they're massive. You're almost 7 feet tall. These doors are nearly 20. They're giant.
They're at the top of the steps?
Yeah, they're at the top of these like marble steps, and there's, they're probably a good 10, 12 feet up, but the doors themselves are almost 30 feet tall. And they're absolutely they're thicker than your forearm. And they just sort of noiselessly part inwards.
Okay. Alright, I go up the steps.
Okay. As you walk inside, in stark contrast to this kind of dank, sketchy alley that you've been making your way down, you find a surprisingly pleasant, well-manicured, and sort of really well-designed little building. Everywhere you go is padded plush carpets and tasteful lighting, sort of cultured artwork decorates most of the walls. There's some plants, and there's a sort of a general upbeat kind of hubbub to the place. There's people walking around and conducting business, and as you make your way into the lobby, it's sort of maybe 10, 20 feet in, you make a right and you're in the main lobby. Someone comes up to you immediately, and it's obviously an attendant. It's someone who's immaculately well-groomed and put together, wearing a suit. And they say, Mr. Iager, is it? He sort of reaches a hand out and sort of beckons you to shake it.
How do you know who I am?
Well, one knows these things. It's our business to know. I'm given to understand you're here for the purposes of procuring a loan for an agricultural business. Quite the business, if rumors are to be believed. He sort of continues to beckon you further inside the bank.
Yeah, I keep following him.
Okay. Go ahead and make a knowledge arcana roll for me real quick. Something just seems a little off, but you can't put your finger on it. You're sort of taken with the whole thing. You really, really appreciate the presentation, the order to this place. The symmetry of it all. It's pleasing. It's enjoyable, certainly. But he sort of ushers you over to a desk and kind of asks you the same things that the priestess at the Abadarian temple asked you, and kind of gets a similar setup going. And after maybe 20 or 30 minutes of deliberation, the two of you sort of come to a number that you can both agree on. And he asks you, is this acceptable? It's basically everything you asked for, at the rate, pretty close to what you asked for.
Yeah, I like it. Yeah, we got a deal.
Interesting. And to clarify, of course, you're going to be putting up at least 51% stake in your farm as collateral.
Whoa. No.
Oh, you agreed to it.
Ah, shit.
That was your plan.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Okay. Jeffrey, he sort of snaps his fingers, and another attendant sort of runs up, and he goes, let's go ahead and get this contract written. So, over the next few minutes, he makes idle chit-chat, small talk. Make another perception check for me. You're not 100% sure, but some of the people in some of the paintings that you've been looking at almost seem to shift when you change your perspective. More than the usual, trick of the light where someone's eyes kind of follow you. As you start to contemplate this, the sort of assistant Jeffrey sort of comes over with this very large contract that is exactly what it says it is on the surface, and they read it out loud verbally and allow you to sort of look it over in person. It's to your liking. They sort of reach out and hand you a quill that's dipped in ink. If you would just sign here, sir.
Okay, I sign.
As soon as the quill touches the parchment, the whole world sort of slows, like time as you perceive it begins to like slow to a crawl. And your perception of yourself and the bank expands outward rapidly. All of a sudden, those same paintings that you could see earlier are completely different and a much more sinister bent than when you first walked in. Instead of the low thrum of commerce and, the stoking of the main fireplace, you hear a roaring inferno and growling in a language that you can't quite understand, always sort of behind you, not quite clear enough to make out, and you feel a thrumming of power through your whole body, like better than you've ever felt in your whole life. Stronger, faster, smarter, and you smell brimstone as this like crescendo of chanting and growling continues in the background. And as you look, actually go ahead and make one more perception check for me. That's enough. That'll work. As you're looking at the contract that you just signed, what was only like 3 or 4 paragraphs is now very clearly like 40 paragraphs. And it's written in a language, again, you don't really understand. And just as that revelation hits you, you sort of snap back to yourself sitting there, holding the quill after you signed it. And the attendant sort of snatches it out of your hand and signs his name on the line too. And you look it over and it is exactly what you signed. Nothing untowards, and the chanting has stopped, the brimstone has stopped, but you still feel incredible. You're just bursting with energy and with power. And both of the bankers are sitting there kind of smiling at you.
Oh, okay. Okay. Take the dude's hand, stroll on out of there.
As soon as you make it to the front steps, the doors immediately swing closed again behind you.
Oh, shit.
And you hear a bolt, like an absolutely massive bolt, like click and tumble. It's pretty clear there's no going back in there.
I try to there's a bolt I can open, like I could try to open.
No. It's
Oh,
like
shit.
it's jimmied shut.
Okay, then I ask what's going on here.
Nobody answers. You're alone in the alley.
Okay, then I walk back down the alley, back towards the way I came.
As you look back, the alley doesn't look quite as shady anymore. It's pretty normal. It's not even that dark. You sort of are you gonna head back to your carriage and then go to head to the train station to leave and go use the loan, or?
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'll go to my carriage. Go try to find someone to buy some cows.
Well, it's not gonna be in this town. It's like there's a major agricultural place called Chastel up to the north.
Yeah.
Make one final perception check for me. You kind of give the block one last sort of look around, and not seeing anything of interest, you get into the carriage, and it again comically like rides low because you're so heavy, and it heads off towards the train station.
Damn. What a story.
Hang on, let me get some water, Jared. We got you next.
That's fucking spooky, dude. I don't know what the
I
fuck's
know.
going on with John.
I got a question. Like my stuff doesn't like have like a in-depth story of what I'm doing here. I mean, it kind of does, but
It will.
okay. It seemed like they knew more than I did. So
Nah,
Well, I'm
like
asking.
on mine, Jared, literally.
There were a few things that I knew, and I just knew that when it came to a certain point.
Okay. All
Yeah,
Bro,
like
I didn't even know I was at a bank. I thought I was at a cow cellar.
right. All right.
That took me a minute.
The only thing I knew about my story was that I'd been, and that I went to like that academy. Well, my backstory is kind of deep, so me and Chase did a lot of shit on it. But like the actual intro, all I knew was I was getting framed.
Jared's is
And we
pretty
don't-
deep too. So it's
Yeah.
And we don't know anything about them when we.
Nah.
right. And part two, to avoid spoilers, but a big part of Jared's stuff happens after this introduction, episode 0, and we'll cover that when we get there. Each of you is gonna have a follow up like one of these when we're done with this episode 0 shit, basically. So.
And what do we know what happens after that, or are you saying that's what's up to us?
The only thing
It's kind of half and half. It's a little bit of both. The real campaign is not on rails like this. There's a lot. You guys have a lot of choice and a lot of options. It's just to give you the chance to like feel a part of the setting a little bit.
And we're learning too.
Yeah.
How to use everything and just I got it. Never mind. Sorry.
Okay.
Kind of the basics.
Good job, John.
Thanks.
Cool.
Hold on.
I was really nervous.
That was I can't believe I had to go first.
Yeah, I wanted to vomit in the beginning, so and I've done this before.
Voice.
It's just us, boys.
I know it's just us, but
I need an
like
orc voice next week, John.
okay. I'm working on getting it down. And then I'll bring the orc voice soon.
It's me, Widegrowl.
What? Wow.
Okay.
Oh my god!
On the other side of the city, well, everyone here, are we good?
Yep.
Okay.
Mhm.
I'm here.
On the other side of the city, in the docks on the south, is an absolutely massive ship. Probably 150 feet, like front to back, and completely carved out of wood to resemble sweeping, almost ethereal kind of leaves that are inlaid with jewels and with metal to give the appearance of real green, but it's very clearly like cut and etched into the wood. And it's a boat of a very obviously elven design. The ship's called the Verdant. Standing on the deck as the fog starts to part is 2 elves, one of whom is named Captain Alafair, who is a sort of royal protector, and he is standing next to Jared.
Valan.
Alan.
Mm.
He sort of, the captain sort of looks at the city for a really long time. He gives it a long, hard look, and he almost has a scowl on his face. He doesn't say anything for a few moments. You're standing shoulder to shoulder.
I just blare out, what a shithole.
he tries really hard to hide the smile that he bursts into and sort of succeeds for a minute and kind of lets it ride. And he goes, I begged your father not to send you here, you know. These people, they're not like us.
Well,
They're
my dad
savage.
can be a real asshole sometimes, you know? So, I don't blame you, bud.
He kind of looks at you like sideways too, like almost aghast, like you just blasphemed. He's like, again, kind of lets it slide. He's like, I know the two of you don't always get along, but this is a cursed place. It wasn't right. Should have stayed back in Keonan and, I don't know, trained you properly, finished your schooling in the arcane arts. It wasn't my choice. I know we don't always see eye to eye, you and I either, but just know I wouldn't have sent you here. Not unerringly. Still,
Oh,
I'm told good things about where you're headed. The university in Lepidstadt is renowned in all of Galarian, not just in this country. And the man we've chosen to accompany you, who will be your professor and, frankly, bodyguard, quite the renowned adventurer in his day. So, can at least be grateful that your safety is not in question.
thank you, old friend.
Mm.
Tell me more about this Petros guy.
He's quite the character. Professor Lorimer is, he's an expert on all things archaeological. He's quite the mage, I'm given to understand. You two should get on very well in that sense, but, he's very famous for delving into tombs and old ruins and fighting off necromancers and wizards and the like. Quite well decorated from what I understand.
Ah, my kind of guy.
I got the sense. Friends of mine who've worked with him in the past have said he's, something of a kindred spirit of yours. He's a bit of a troublemaker himself. Quick to joke and quick to offend, and he sort of looks at you sternly for a second.
My old friend. You have jokes, I see.
Never. He looks back very, very, like, solemnly back at the city. One of the sailors sort of, down on the dock makes a series of hand signals, and somebody up on the deck kind of catches on, and they're like, alright. They start prepping to disembark, basically. Everyone's ready to get off. You know you've been held up for essentially a day or two because of the storms and the fog. The two of you begin to sort of walk down the gantry, and you see an old man. Hang on, let me see if I can show you the picture. Can you see that?
Yep.
You see sort of a bookish old man holding a arcane tome in one hand and sort of walking with the sword cane in the other, kind of headed over.
I nudge the guy that I'm with and I say, "This guy is the adventurer you told me about?"
Oh, don't let his old age fool you. You know, actually make a sense motive check for me.
Hold on a second, I didn't have my character sheet up. Alan can't see shit.
Can't tell nothing. Again, he kind of keeps his response, he sort of bites it down. And he says, indeed. And sort of walks over, hailing the man. The two of you walk over, and immediately he and Petros kind of get it, or the captain and Petros get in like a little bit of a standoff where they're sort of looking at one another up and down. After a few seconds, the professor walks over and sort of slaps his forearm into the captain's forearm. He says, Althanas, my old friend, it's good to see you again. Captain kind of looks around, sort of breaking character for a moment. He says, you too. Well, I won't stand on sentiment. This is your charge. And he turns and he goes, may I introduce Lord...
And I just blare out, I say, Petros, my old friend, how are you doing today?
He fucking...
It is I,
busts
Valan.
out a huge grin as soon as you do that. And he pushes past the captain and he extends a hand to you.
I shake his hand.
Aye, lad. Pleasure to meet you. My name's Petros Lorimer, but you knew that. I forgot to do my Scottish bit in the beginning.
Nice to meet you, Petros. I feel like we're gonna be good friends.
Likewise, likewise. I'm given to understand you and I have quite a bit in common. He sort of,
That's what they say.
he looks at you and he looks at the sword that's kind of, well, how do you carry? Is it on your hip or is it on your back?
On my back.
Oh, he sort of sees the hilt of the longsword that you're carrying and he goes, I'm to understand. You're supposed to be something of a duelist, are you?
Ah, I see that you've heard.
Indeed. Well, you know where we're going. We have quite the culture there. And he sort of pulls his collar down a few inches from his neck, and there's a big, almost crisscross kind of scar there. Hang on one second, let me see if you have a good skill for this. Should go ahead, just go ahead and roll a d20 for me. Good enough.
Oh, not my favor.
Sort of raise an eyebrow and look at him. And he goes, oh, you don't know what that is, do you? Oh, you'll learn, believe me. Captain kind of gives him a side eye, like, what the fuck does that mean? He says, where we're from, it's a badge of honor. That's a dueling scar. Only the best members are able to walk away with one intact, if you know what I mean.
Wait, are you saying people die?
Again, he kind of looks at the captain and he sort of looks at you. You can tell he's joking and he's like, I'm not saying that they don't.
Ah. And I just kind of chuckle a little bit.
He goes, all right, well, we best not dally. Captain, I know you're anxious to get back to Keonan, but, well, I think I can handle it from here, thanks. And Captain kind of just gives him a nod, and he turns and looks at you solemnly for a second, and he looks like he's going to say something, and he doesn't. He goes to turn away, and
And I walk up to him, I grab his shoulder, I turn him around, I give him like the forearm to forearm, and I say, I'll see you, old friend.
goes, I'll see you too. Please try not to embarrass your house any further. And he just immediately turns and storms off back up the gangway.
I just think in my head, like, what a fuck that guy.
Well then, Petros says. He sort of
Kind of scoff and walk up and catch up to Petros. And
yeah, he's sort of,
walk off.
you can see he's like leaning against a crate, kind of like peeking up at the ship, waiting to see the captain like go inside. And he kind of like looks around to see if anyone else is watching, and he's like, "Oi, yeah, now that bit of unpleasantness is over with. Care to help me have a bit of real fun?"
Do it, Petros.
Excellent. Follow
How
me
fun
then.
were you thinking?
Said, a little bit of rough and tumble. I'm back from a dig over in Taldor. Quite exciting stuff, really. We brought back a big find, several mummies and quite a few artifacts, but it looks like we're not the only ones interested in acquiring these things. Could use a bit of muscle. Maybe just for show, maybe the real thing. You think you're up for it? Kind of elbows you in the side, like half joking.
Do it, Petros.
Excellent, excellent. All right, let's hail a cab. Sort of flags down a carriage, and two of you set off.
I tell him, I'm already having more fun than I did in Keonan.
I had a feeling. All right, so here's the deal. Myself and an associate of mine are going to need a little bit of a hand getting these artifacts onto the train over at Soivoda Station. It's quite the ways to go, and as I said, the interest in these objects is rather high. As soon as we pull up to the warehouse, which is just on the outskirts of Castle Strythe, it'll be a pretty mad dash to get to the station in time. You think we could swing it?
I think I can swing anything.
Hmm?
What?
How homoerotic. Alright. So you You sort of pull up to this big, kind of enclosed warehouse, which I'll ping it on the map right here.
It's foreshadowing for me, Blake.
Waka, waka, waka. So you see where you guys are kind of coming from. That's what?
Yeah, we're right over.
Okay.
Yeah, where you're pinging. That's where we got into the.
Yeah, you guys
thing.
just headed. Well, no, you got off.
Are we going outside the gates?
You got off the boat here, and you guys like rode.
And we're heading to that spot.
Yeah, you're basically on the way to the warehouse.
That's what. Oh, we're going to the warehouse.
Yeah.
I thought we were going to the dig.
No, the dig is in another country. It's in like Rome.
Oh, they brought the stuff to there.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, gotcha.
So, you guys get about halfway to the warehouse, right about this point right here.
Mm-hmm.
And you're sort of, you're in a big procession with a bunch of other horse-drawn carriages, buggies. Who drew a nipple in the middle of the bay? Busted. Anyway. Alright. You're sort of in like almost gridlock traffic a little bit, kind of along this main thoroughfare. And right next to you, you're sort of deadlocked neck and neck. There's another cart, this time being held with well, it's basically it's got a big stack of coffins on it, like 20 or 30 of them. And you start noticing some strange looks from the people on the street. Not at you, but kind of in your direction. Go ahead and make a perception check for me.
There we go. A little better.
Sue? Okay. About 10 or so carts back, you see a man who's trying really hard to not look like he's staring at you. And you kind of catch him in the act, and he knows you caught him. And he turns and he looks at someone else. And they kind of pass this knowing glance like, oh, fuck, we've been made. Do you say anything, or...
I think someone's following us, Petros.
Sort of turns and looks and goes, where?
I made them behind us 10 carts back.
Aye. You did good, lad. Hey, this is a little bit of a shit situation we're in. Sort of looking around the deadlock. So you guys have some pretty heavy cargo. It's not like you can just ditch and run on foot or anything. You notice that 2 guys has very quickly become 4 and now almost 5. And Petros sees this too. And he says, alright, gonna need to make an opening. I need you to take the reins. As soon as we do, I'm going to make a break for the warehouse. Straight ahead, just a few blocks. Think you can handle that? Doesn't really give you a choice. Sort of passes you the reins as you say that, but see him stand up and kind of look around. And he hops up on top of the back of the carriage and he casts Fireball at a fruit cart about 10 or so yards from where the guys that you made are. And the cart explodes. It immediately just lights on fire. There's no one near it. It's just an empty cart, pretty much.
Hey, holy shit, Petros, you're a fucking badass.
Get us the fuck out of here, he says as soon as you say that.
I grab the reins and ride out to the honeycomb hideout.
Go ahead and just roll a d20 for me.
Okay, I thought I was going to roll a handle animal.
Actually, that would be better. Let's do that. I didn't realize you had that.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus.
Ooh.
That was a 20.
Wow.
Oh, shit.
It's the first one of the campaign.
Let's go. The second he launches the fireball and you hear it explode and he says, "Get us the fuck out of here." You crack the reins and the whole cart just takes off, flying through everyone kind of scattered when they heard the explosion. There's just a little bit, enough of a gap that you, the horses, the buggy, all that stuff can fit through it. You guys fucking fly down this straightaway and manage to get to the warehouse in time. Kind of skidding to a halt right in front of the fence, almost as if you're going to run through the gates.
As we stop, I say, Petros, who the fuck were those guys?
I don't know, lad. But it can't be up to any good. And I say we'd rightly piss them off now. Come on, we gotta get our third man. He sort of, opens the main doors, and as you sort of follow him in, two of you walk up to the main, roll door of the warehouse. Sort of pull it up, and inside is another man, sort of well-tailored, well-dressed in a suit. Definitely not the kind of guy you would think would be intimidating. And he goes,
hold on. I immediately walk up to him and say, yes, it is I, the great Valan. How are you doing today?
He kind of laughs, sort of looks at Petros and looks back at you and laughs. And he goes, I heard a great deal about you. Oh, wait. Sorry, he's not Scottish. It's late. I'm fucking up, boys. He goes,
you're good.
Oh, I've heard quite a bit about you. You're the son of the speakers, aren't you?
That is I, Valan in the flesh.
Sort of looks back kind of down the road where a pretty big smoke cloud's starting to waft up. You get the sense that some more things have probably caught on fire.
And I say, already causing a little bit of trouble in this Hoboken town.
He just kind of chuckles and he goes, well, should we get started then? And the three of you go ahead and start kind of loading everything onto the cart, including a very, very large, very ornate sarcophagus. Very well decorated, kind of like King Tut's, decked out, gold, jewels, the whole nine.
Say to him, when I die, I'm going to have way more gold on my coffin.
Kind of gives you a half smile. He goes, quite. Back to lashing up the last of the stuff on the cart. You guys get in. Are you gonna drive or are you gonna let one of them drive?
I'm gonna let one of them drive. I'm gonna say, hey old man, why don't you go ahead and take the reins? I'm talking to Petros.
He just laughs. For the record, you're older than he is. He goes,
he looks older than me, though, so...
For sure. But he just goes, who are you calling old? Just cracks the reins again. You start to take off. You guys are headed over here towards this station. Make an actual circle real quick.
Gotcha. I'm going to say, Petros, why don't you give me the skinny here? These guys aren't following us for no reason. What's going on?
The two of them kind of look at one another and they sort of look at you. That was unexpected. Oh, wrong sheet. Hang on one sec. Make a diplomacy roll for me. They kind of gave you a brush off like a petulant little kid. You're like, come on, you can trust me, and they sort of look at the carnage that's brewing behind you guys, even though it's not really your fault. And they just go, let's just say they're, rival academics. He kind of raises his eyebrows as he says it.
I'm going to say, listen guys, I need to know what I'm getting myself into here.
Roll sense motive. Yeah. Just a bit of personal business, laddie. Nothing to really concern yourself with. If they were a real threat, I wouldn't let you get involved. We're not far off now, anyway. sort of roll past the neighborhood, and you're getting closer to the station, and this is a spot where the presence of the guard, like the city guard, is considerably thicker than in normal spots. Make a perception check again for me. Oh, gosh.
Jesus Christ, dude.
Does it really matter?
Like, oh, as low as it could be.
You're not
I have really high perception too. It's crazy.
you're not 100% sure, but you're pretty sure they're still following you guys, even though you make it pretty safely to the train itself and start to get loaded
I'm
up.
about to give these guys the business, bro. Can I tell them? I'm pretty sure these guys are still following us.
Make a diplomacy check again. Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
High or
This time, they definitely heed the warning, and without reacting too strongly, Petros kind of not really turning his head. He's standing near you, but he just goes, "Aye, there's one of them now on your 3 o'clock. Wait till he goes in the alley. We'll waylay him."
now we're talking, Petros.
If he sort of walked off nonchalantly, like trying to sort of blend in. You gonna follow the guy down the alley, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna follow the guy down the alley. Petros went for after him, right?
Yeah, he's sort of like, is it
Yeah, I follow behind Petros.
kind of like a
Boy, flanking.
sort of like
Yeah.
cutting off his other angle, a little bit of Omar from The Wire style.
So he's coming from another way, and I'm walking straight towards the guy, and the guy can see me.
Pretty much.
I'm gonna say, "How you doing? Name's Valan. How can I help you?"
Go ahead, roll diplomacy again. He hesitates a little bit, almost like he's uncertain. Sort of slows up in his steps and turns to look at you.
Say anything to me?
Says, "I don't know no stinking Valan." Oh my god! As he turns to say, "I don't know no Valan," Petros breaks out into a sprint and whacks him in the back of the head with the pommel of his sword cane. And the man
How close am I to
collapses. You're like, you're maybe 10 feet away.
Okay.
Sort of drags him into the barrels on the side of the alley. Sort of smacks him around the face a bit till he wakes up.
Is the guy out cold?
No, he's stunned, but he's not unconscious.
When he wakes up, I say, "Well, now I think you know the name Valan."
Make an intimidating roll. Okay.
Fucking bitch boy.
He flinches almost as soon as you say it. You sort of get right into his face and kind of grind him into the brick facade of the wall. Petros says, "Aye, you best not forget it." Sort of putting the blade to his neck now, and he goes,
I give Petros like the knocks, like the quick knocks.
"Nice.
Like that. You supported me. Thank you.
Tell us who you're working with, prick."
And you know, to like intimidate him further, so he'll tell us who he was working with. I have the shocking grasp on my hand. Like
You just like light it, like you like set your hand to
it's
shocks.
like crackling in my hand, like I'm ready to like shock and grasp him.
He is absolutely fucking terrified. This guy is not a real thug. He's definitely just like a cheap mercenary for hire, and he just spills immediately. He goes, "It was these men. It was these men from Cheliax. Please don't kill me. They just wanted to put us in the cart. I don't know. Get him away from me. Good God." Sort of incoherently rambles for a few minutes. Make a sense motive check. Okay. You definitely think he's absolutely scared shitless and telling you guys the truth. Petros kind of smacks him a couple more times, and he kind of like lifts him up, dusts him off a little bit. Says, I think it's time you get another job in this town, eh? The guy kind of like hastily shakes his head and sort of looks at you like, what's gonna happen?
I pull the guy towards me with my hand that's not the shocking grasp, and I get it like real close to him. And I say, if I ever see you again, this is what you're gonna get. And I look at my hand with the shocking grasp. And then I just let him go and throw him down on the ground.
He faints.
He's the weird.
What a
Oh my
wimp.
God.
Holy shit.
Man,
And I
he
say-
shits his
And
pants.
I say to Petros, I said, yeah, we fucking punked him, bro.
He gives you like a quick tap now. Kind of looks around. He's like, all right, let's get the hell out of here, eh?
Just to give you guys some context, I'm like a teen. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm 80 years old, but like I'm just
You're
like
still like a
fucking-
kid almost, yeah.
I'm still like
Yeah.
a kid. So like I'm just fucking
You're an
a
elf, right?
dumb crazy kid basically.
Your fucking anime character.
Yeah.
It sounds like.
Yeah.
As you guys sort of you head down back the alley, he goes to help find his partner, the deviant again, who's like loading all the stuff on the train. He kind of pulls you to the side and he goes, all right, fair play. We should probably bring you in. He goes, I told you we were on a dig down in Taldor. That's only part of it. Truth is, we were there to stop some of these guys. But, it's hard to explain. Equal parts cartel and extremist academics call themselves the Aspis Consortium out of the country of Chiliax. They're greedy fuckers, and it's dangerous to boot. It's not too uncommon for them to hire little piss-poor operatives like this, but when we were on the dig, we found something serious. We took the sarcophagus and most of the other relics as bait. Truth is, they're after this. He sort of reaches in his coat and he pulls out a little canopic jar. It's almost like salmon colored, etched with a bunch of runes. Go ahead and let's see. You do a knowledge arcana check. Oh yeah.
I don't seen that shit before, boy.
You know that there is definitely a piece of somebody's soul inside this thing. And it is absolutely thrumming with power.
When I cast if I cast detect magic, does it tell me like more about the magic, or it
Yes.
just tells me it's close by?
No, detect magic will tell you
I cast detect magic.
you gotta roll it.
There is no roll. It's just
No, it's
it
a
sounds-
it's a D20 plus it's a caster level thing.
what is it?
There's a DC as opposed to well, you know it's magical.
I say, man, what a cool color.
He kind of he looks at you.
I used to have a shirt that color.
He looks at you kind of seriously for a second, and he goes, "Hey, they said you didn't take your studies all that seriously, but we'll have to get you up to snuff, eh?" Kind of elbows you in the arm lightly, and he just goes, "I'm not sure who's in this jar, but I know they were powerful at some point, and I know the consortium wants them. It's good enough reason for me to keep it out of their hands. Help me take it all the way back to Lepidstadt in one piece. We might as well see if we can't cut you in on some of the spoils."
Now we're talking, Petros. I say, I knew I would like you.
Mm-hmm.
Likewise. If half the stories I heard about you were true, I knew this was going to be a good pairing. You sort of, two of you kind of walk in and both board the train at the same time. And Not that I don't want to continue, but I gotta be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.